Inside America's harshest Supermax. What life is really like 23 hours a day. We're about to step inside the most secure penitentiary in America, a place built to hold terrorists, cartel leaders, and gang shot callers who couldn't be controlled anywhere else. For 23 hours a day, men live in 7 by 12-foot cells, staring at walls designed to break their spirits. And yet, even here, there are routines, acts of defiance, flashes of humanity. In the next few minutes, you'll see how ADX was engineered to crush escape plans, what a typical day looks like behind those steel doors, and how prolonged isolation reshapes the human mind. This isn't fiction. Every detail comes from court filings, interviews, and investigative reports. Birth of a fortress. In the late 1980s, the Federal Bureau of Prisons faced a crisis. Existing high-security penitentiaries like USP Marion were overwhelmed by violent gang leaders, international terrorists, and repeat escape artists. After the murder of 2 correctional officers at Marion in 1983, the entire prison was locked down indefinitely. Officials needed a new model, a facility built from the ground up for permanent lockdown. That facility became ADX Florence, opened in 1994 on the outskirts of Florence, Colorado. Designed by a team of architects, security experts, and psychologists, it would house up to 490 of the most dangerous federal inmates. Its mission: total control through isolation. Each detail of the building reflects that mission. Cells are poured concrete with narrow slit windows angled so prisoners can see only sky, never the horizon. Movement is minimized through electronic doors, sealed corridors, and step-down security levels that rarely lead to general population. Early critics called it a clean version of hell. New York Times, 1998. Supporters called it necessary. Both were right. The layout of control. ADX is divided into units with names like General Population, Special Security, and Control. But these are misleading labels. Even general means 22 to 23 hours per day in solitary. Each unit is a self-contained pod with electronically operated steel doors and cameras covering every angle. Inmates rarely interact face-to-face with staff. Meals are passed through a slot. Legal mail is opened under watch. The recreation yard is a concrete box with a tiny view of the sky. Only the most compliant inmates may eventually move to a slightly less restrictive wing. Former warden Robert Hood told 60 Minutes, "It's not designed for rehabilitation, it's designed for custody." In other words, ADX is the end of the line. A day in a cell. Imagine waking up in total silence. The lights never fully go out. They dim, but the hum of ventilation is constant. Your cell measures about 84 square feet. Breakfast slides through the slot at 5:30 a.m. A tray of oatmeal, powdered milk, maybe fruit. You eat alone. Reading material is limited. You may pace, do push-ups, or stare at the small TV bolted behind plexiglass. There are no communal showers, only a combination sink shower in your cell. At 9:00 a.m., a guard announces recreation. If you sign up, you're cuffed and escorted to a solitary yard the size of a dog run for 1 hour, then back inside. This is life for 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. Months blur into years. Some inmates begin to hallucinate or self-harm. Others develop elaborate routines to stay sane, reading law books, writing letters, even playing chess by mail. According to a 2017 Amnesty International report, prolonged isolation at ADX violates international human rights standards, yet it remains the federal government's model for containing its most dangerous prisoners. Profiles of notorious inmates. When these inmates arrived, they were stripped of nearly every privilege. No phone calls except with lawyers, no unmonitored mail, no physical contact with family. In many cases, the Bureau of Prisons argued in court filings that ADX was the only facility capable of preventing them from ordering violence on the outside. These names do more than populate a roster. They illustrate why the prison exists: to neutralize high-risk offenders through near-total isolation. Yet even here, notorious inmates find ways to leave their mark. Kaczynski, for example, became a prolific letter writer, responding to journalists and scholars from his cell. Others filed lawsuits challenging conditions, slowly chipping at the edges of the system. Psychological toll. What 23 hours alone does to the mind. Psychologists call it SU syndrome, the cluster of symptoms that develop in prolonged solitary confinement. Clinical studies, including a 2015 review in Frontiers in Psychology, link extreme isolation to depression, anxiety, paranoia, and hallucinations. Former ADX prisoners describe feeling as though time stops. Without social interaction or natural stimulation, the brain's stress systems go into overdrive. One man told Amnesty International he began talking to insects in his cell because they were the only living things he saw for months. Even correctional officers noticed the effects. Retired Warden Robert Hood called ADX a clean version of hell and warned that we are slowly driving men insane. 60 Minutes interview 2007. For viewers, this is where the stakes become clear. ADX is not just a building, it's an experiment in human endurance. Some inmates adapt by creating rigid routines, exercise circuits, legal research, religious practice. Others deteriorate, developing tics, memory loss, or violent outbursts. The longer the confinement, the higher the risk of permanent psychological damage. Thank you for watching Behind Bars TV. If you found this look inside America's toughest prisons eye-opening, hit the like button and subscribe for more real stories from behind the walls. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. We read everyone. New episodes every week, so turn on the bell icon to stay updated. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next documentary.